Pauline, your job's an inventory clerk. How would you start when you come into a property like this?
Basically at the front door, which usually leads onto the hallway. And from that point, I would proceed in a set order that I personally use, but other inventory clerks use their own. So it goes door, windows, curtains, ceilings, lights, walls, floor, heating frames, electrics.
In every room? In
every room, and then specialist things, for instance, for a kitchen or a bathroom.
Okay.
So everything's covered.
And photographs?
I do take photographs, a general one of each room, sometimes from a few angles, and then I will home in any problems, such as stains, anything that's just not right with that item.
Okay. Well, let's go upstairs and have a look at what some of those things might be.
Okay.
So as you're going around the property, Pauline, are you also looking for general condition?
Yes, I look at the room for general condition, and then I look specifically at each item for the condition of that, and as an experienced clerk you get quite quick at that, really.
This window, for example, I mean, this is really unusual. How would you record that?
You basically just do what you can with words. And most of us have the words we think about it. It's a stained glass window with bullion accents and illustration of flowers.
Okay, what about the damage?
Yeah, there are a couple of cracked panes, I see. You would note them down on the report, but also I would put that back to the letting agent because they really should know about any broken glass in the property.
That's the sort of damage point, yeah. And something as small as this?
Oh yeah, the scuff on the edge of the windowsill, that would be noted too. Well spotted. Yeah.
So this is the master bedroom, which all looks very nice indeed.
Yes, this one is in excellent condition, I'd say, but there's always something to spot, and I've spotted something on the carpet there.
Oh, yes.
I would put that down as a couple of 2 half-inch rust-coloured spots beside the door.
Gosh, yeah. Obviously, it is very detailed. You don't miss a thing, do you?
Thank you.
I'll leave you to it.
Thank you.
Bill, I've just been talking to Pauline and she's been looking at the inventory in this really beautiful converted property.
It's super, isn't it? It really is.
Now, your company is an inventory company. What's the first stage of an inventory?
The first stage of an inventory is getting ready for the whole process, which is the inventory, the check-in, the interim inspection and the check-out.
Okay, so what happens with the check-in?
The check-in is where the tenant is now meeting the inventory for the first time. The tenant is now being invited to look at the inventory and to agree it. Because at that point there's a sign-off, every page is signed off, ready for the rest of the process.
Right. How long will that take then to do that?
Typically a check-in will take 45 minutes to an hour.
And who will be with the tenant?
We would best advise that's the letting agent who's taking the tenant round the whole property with the inventory in his hand and checking everything.
Okay, and the next stage after that?
The next stage is what we call the interim. Halfway through a short hold tenancy, best practice advice from ARLA is that there is an interim inspection which looks at the occupancy to make sure they haven't got 30-40 people in.
Yeah.
It looks at the style of occupancy, i.e. if they've agreed to have pets, have they got them?
Yes.
It looks at things like non-smoking, and it looks at the general condition.
Whether or not you want to keep the tenants.
It gives the landlord a chance to say, hey, this is not a tenant we'd like to renew with. So the interims are very, very important.
Right.
Typically an interim will take half an hour, 45 minutes.
Right.
It's only a 6-question report.
Okay.
Then that's followed, of course, by the checkout.
Of course.
Now, the checkout is the moment when the property has been handed back to the landlord in the condition that it was passed over to the tenant.
Okay, at the check-in stage.
At the check-in stage. So here we're now going to perhaps have disputes, but if the checkout's done well, it means that the landlord and the tenant shouldn't have any disputes.
So it's the quality of the documentation, the check-in, the check-out, which means that there shouldn't be any disputes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fantastic. Bill, thanks very much.
Thank you.
For more information on inventories, take a look at www.apip.org.uk.